Well, my next brother to me upwards was in the Navy as just a rating, and my father wouldn't let me go in the Navy. I was still too young to be called up, but he let me go to sea as an apprentice. That's the main reason for it. And I thought afterwards it was the best idea because it gave me a future. Well, I mean, an apprentice officer is just that. Really, he's only cheap labour because you do exactly the same as the seamen do. You learn how to keep a watch properly, how to do the work on deck, splicing ropes and various things, keeping a watch. Which, it's very hard to explain. You're just another AB, or you're just another deckhand. If somebody wanted on watch on the bridge, you'd be sent there. I was as sick as a dog. I was very seasick. And it was not until after we'd been to America that I started to get over it. The ship I was on was an ex-American built ship that was taken over during the war. The accommodation was nothing very much. There was bunks, 4 bunks in a room, about the size of this. And we ate and slept and did everything in that room. Excuse me. The bathroom consisted of a metal room at the end of the alleyway leading onto the deck. There was no shower in it. We had to get a bucket of water, warm water, and just stand in the middle of it. It was tiled, the floor was tiled, and we had to wash ourselves there. Go down and get hot water. There was a steam pipe in the bathroom to heat the water a little bit more if you wanted to. But it wasn't luxury, believe me. You'd have cereal for breakfast and maybe eggs and bacon, maybe. Every Sunday and every Thursday, I think we got eggs and bacon for breakfast. But the other meals were just the same: cooked beef and potatoes. We carried a store of potatoes on board the ship, and all the other carrots and all the rest of it. Coffee was shocking. It was horrible coffee. Tea, we got so much. We had the Board of Trade in England. They made out a supply, and that's what we stood to. We got eggs on Sundays and Thursdays, things like that. We got so much butter allowed to us, and we got milk, condensed milk, tins of condensed milk. That was the best way of carrying it. You couldn't carry fresh, only when you're close to port. So you lived on condensed milk. The potatoes usually went bad halfway across the Atlantic. We had steam heat, because she was a steamboat. The just ordinary radiators, and the engine room supplied the steam to keep us warm. And the bunks were just metal bunks with metal springs and a thin mattress. It didn't mean to me much to me, because I was dead tired by the time I got to bed. My father had to supply me with a uniform and waterproof gear, sea boots, bedding. Some of our bedding was not supplied by the ship. See, before that, he used to provide, the merchant seamen used to supply themselves with a bedding, and all their clothing. And we were on the same virtually, except that we slept in a separate room. The crew slept in the accommodation down aft, down the after end of the ship, and we slept amidship. Different ships would come out of the port from London, depending which way they thought the convoy should go, to the north of Scotland, then dodging through the islands of Scotland to get across to the other side. We went all sorts of different channels, and we were attacked by the German aircraft came, and we were in columns. There may be 5 columns of ships, with say 5 ships in each column. Yes, we were just going along doing our business, and some German aircraft came down the centre of the columns and attacked us that way. So we had to man the guns, and the guns were mainly there for aircraft flying above us, not on the same level. But we didn't lose anybody, thank goodness. And it was very frightening. But I think once you're in it, you forget the fright. You're determined on keeping them away. Well, to tell you the truth, the first night to sea, I got dressed in all my clothes and went to sleep like that. The second convoy I went in, I was in normal sleeping gear. If you get hit, the odds of getting away from it were very small. So it was no good going to sleep in gear and don't forget, it's very cold up there near Iceland. So you used to dress for the cold. But luckily I was spared that. But I met people who had been. I met one cadet, and he'd been in a small boat after his ship had been sunk. He'd been in that for about 30 days. He wasn't all that good. But lights, if you showed a light anywhere, there'd be yells and screams to black it out. Jerry used to come on with the subs and sit either on the outside of the convoys. There'd be 5 or 6 lanes of ships, and at first Jerry used to stay on the outside, and then they started coming inside the channels of the ships to get closer. Just to give you an idea, one ship I was in, they converted the 'tween decks. You know, that's see the hatch. There's the main deck, and there's a 'tween deck, and then the bottom of the ship. Not the bottom of the ship, but the lower deck of the hold. They converted all our 'tween decks into storage for TNT. They lined the walls. I'll call them walls, bulkheads, with plywood or plain wood and copper nails, so that it wouldn't rub on anything, on steel. And all our 'tween decks on this particular ship, were converted into places for TNT.